In today's episode, we're sculpting this, which means we're carving this into this. We'll show you how we do it, work some mad detailing magic, recap our sculpture, and dazzle you with breathtaking cinematics. Looking for top 5 entertainment for the next 40 minutes? And park it right here and stick around. Hey, good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, City Sculptor, and you have made your way back to Pengasas Bay. Well, we've all made our way back to Pengasas Bay. I took a little week off and, I was just having some fun. Thank you for all the people who have reached out to me just to check in on me. I'm fine. I'm doing great. In fact, one of the reasons I took some time off is that I am a big NFL football fan, and this last week they had their NFL draft with all the college players that are going into the pro ranks. I kind of geek out on that. I loved watching it. So I spent a couple days just kind of glued to the TV, just enjoying all of that. But, I've also been dealing with a couple of other little things. It seems that this very wet and rainy spring, Mother Nature is intending to try and flood my basement. I'm having none of it, though. I'm keeping her at bay the best I can, so wish me luck there. But, I'm back, and I'm super excited about today's episode. And then, of course, the subsequent one as well. That's going to be airport episode number 1 today, and we'll have the second one probably following a week later. So we've also started some content on Manor Lords, too. I don't know if you saw my first video that came out on Friday, but, be sure to check that out if you have a chance. Manor Lords, it's a really cool game. So you're looking in at the subject of today's build for the most part, and that's going to be way back over here, just outside of downtown. It's this massive area out here, and you can see this just big flat space out here between two forests. Really, there's one here and there's one back over here, and by and large the ground is pretty flat, which says it just screams airport to me. And so I thought, this is where we're gonna do this. We're gonna be building out the Amelia Earhart International Airport. And Amelia Earhart, for those of you who don't know, is a former American aviator. She was attempting to become the first female pilot to circumnavigate the world when her plane went missing back in I want to say it was probably about 1937 or so, somewhere around there. So it's been quite a while. But a tremendous aviator, and disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Now there are rumors that there was a plane found in one of the jungles here in Grand Vanillica. I can neither confirm nor deny those rumors, but who knows? Anyhow, we're building this airport in her honor, and it's going to be a pretty good-sized airport. I'm not using the international airport, the canned one that comes with the game, but rather I'm going to repurpose 2 of the original airports into kind of a larger dual runway configuration. I've already sketched up some ideas. I've got some plans, and so we'll just get to work on it here pretty soon. And then, it's going to feature some additional assets. The primary objective today is to get the airport functional, up and running. Some late detailing, maybe some beautification at the entrance or something like that. And then we'll come back in the second episode and we'll finish it off the area around it, because, while airports are big, it probably won't take up all of this space, but, we'll come in and we'll flesh out the area around it just to kind of give it more of an airport feel. All right. Wow. I just threw a lot at you guys, and I hope you're excited just like I am. So with all that as a backdrop, let's do this. All right, so the first thing we want to do is I want to make sure the game stays paused, and I need to do a lot of demolition in here. I need to tear out some freeways, because an international airport is a really, really big project, and this is going to be no different here in Pengasas Bay. It's going to take up a lot of space. It's going to be occupying this whole big chunk out here, and then I want to just make sure I'm knocking a few of these things out here. I had a couple pieces in here. This is kind of one of my little alignment crosses that I have set up here and there. And then this is marking off some farmland. I want to make sure that we're, cognizant of that. I wouldn't want to destroy all that. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to come in here and just smooth some things out. Again, an airport is such a massive structure that I want to make sure that the area all around it is pretty level. So I'm going to just kind of pick this elevation here. I'm going to push this back ever so slightly. And I don't need to, I shouldn't need to carve in too deep here. I think we're going to be in good shape. And we've already got a really big area out here, if you notice that. Which is one of the reasons I selected the space out here, because it's a nice big kind of a plateau. All right, that's a good start there. So I want to give careful consideration to the direction of the airport here. Here, I'm going to jump in and turn on my terrain tool here, and just so you can see some contour lines here. I've got this little bowl that nestles in through here, and then it slopes up the hill here as well. So I can use that as kind of the runway approach, if you will, on one of our parts of the airport. And then on the other side, I've got a similar kind of a effect going on over here with that farmland that's carved out. I've got the freeway I can run down the middle of it. And conceptually, the airport assets here in City Skylines, they're not really all that realistic in terms of their size, their scope. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use two of these smaller airports. What are they called? Just airport. Okay. And I'm going to use two of those. And I want those to, kind of form the foundation, if you will, of my airport. Let's turn on the terrain lines. Yeah, so that you can see that there. If I slide that forward quite a bit, I think we'll probably be in good shape. And I want to consider that orientation so that it kind of runs right down into that channel, that's natural channel that's being formed right through this little section between Hickory Heights and the university, and then the freeway back here. And then we'll just rotate this in here so that we've got a good orientation there. And then I want to slide this out maybe kind of into this space here. So it looks like the runway will be just ever so slightly to the left of this little rise that sits up in here. So maybe if I drop this in right about there, I think that's going to be better. All right, so that's going to be our first airport. And then I need to build out a framework here now that'll support the second one, which is going to go in this direction that's opposite. I'll just kind of show it to you for effect here. So we're going to do something like that. So I get a nice, aligned configuration here with the two parallel runways. And you can see that approach runs right up in this little canyon up there. Oh, so let's turn off all these snaps. And you can see it runs right up into that approach there. And then over here, it's going to run over the top of this forest. So again, we're going to try and keep air traffic to a minimum in this build, and we'll see how that turns out, but that's what we're going to do. Now sit tight, let me kind of build out a little bit of a little road framework there for us. So now with that big kind of H in place here, I should be able to snap in another airport. Let's go ahead and grab that airport, and where do I find that again? Right there. And we're going to run that into place just so that the main entrances of both of these two airports line up. If I do that, it should be right about here. Let's just double check in here. And you can see I'm connecting the central air entrance of this airport with the central air entrance of that airport via a pedestrian street. And that I think is going to be a good play for us because we're going to have a lot of connecting flights that are going to come in. Maybe this is kind of the international terminal, and this will be the domestic terminal that gets passengers to and fro here within Pengasas Bay and then all points throughout Grand Vanillica. So now I'm going to want to come in and drop in a few assets. You got to make it look like an airport. So I thought, let's grab a couple of overground parking buildings, and I want to snap to this center pedestrian road just for now, just for placeholders. And I think if I can squeeze two of them in there, that would be just enough space to bring a road down through there. And let's just make sure we can do that. And then I want to take this, just a regular road, 2-lane road. I'm going to run that out in this direction here, connect. I'm going to connect here. There we go. All right, so now I can just take these parking garages and spin those around in a different orientation. And now they're facing an actual road that can handle automobile traffic. So I think we're in good shape there. And then there's some other big assets that I want to drop into this space as well. Before I do that, let's talk a little bit about kind of conceptually where I'm going to be going here. You can see that we've got that freeway that used to come down through here. And I envision maybe this interchange gets worked ever so slightly, but I want that freeway to dive in underneath here at some point under the airport, have it reemerge on this side, and then reconnect over in this space here with this freeway that was coming in out of downtown. You can see out of downtown, you've got this freeway coming out. And then you have this other freeway that we had just constructed that gives us access back to our Sports Technology Institute and all points to the west there. So if I can make a 3-way freeway interchange in this space here and then have that dive back underneath the airport and give us airport access, I think that's going to allow the traffic to flow really nicely through this space and really kind of maintain a really a beautiful aesthetic as you approach the airport. All right, so let's dive back in here again. So airports are notorious for parking, right? You've got lots and lots of parking all the time. And so I want to run this road, continue this road out to, let's just say right about there for now. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then I want to drop in some larger parking lots that kind of support this structure out here. So I thought a very large does fit in there. Well, we could do that. So let's bring that in so it's kind of right along here. And actually, I think what I might want to do is have it facing this direction. Let's do this. Let's turn off our snaps. And I would turn it around. There you go. That was the direction I wanted to start with here. Just put this right in along here. Let's just see. All right, so if I ran a little alley road, let's see if I can run a little alley road that sits right in between here and our main stretch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. We're going to mirror this. And then let's grab that big, huge parking lot. If I can have that orient this direction, and then do the same thing on the other side here. The way they've got traffic access coming in and out of those parking lots. That gives us some good parking access, and then let's just frame that up or box it up, if you will, with a two-way road here. And I can come back in at some point and upgrade these to one-way roads here and there just to improve the traffic flow, kind of keep things going around in a loop, because that's one of the things that airports are kind of famous for, is that they try and keep traffic moving all in one direction so that it doesn't, you don't have like a lot of left turn crossovers and so forth, just so that they can keep things flowing. So the next thing I need to do is I need to take these two airports, 1, 2, and I need to nudge them back from their streets just a little bit. And the reason I need to do that is because I want to make sure that I've got adequate room for my next little trick here. So let's just make sure that they're nicely lined up here. Just pull them back ever so slightly so that we still have connections. You can see we still have connections running through there. And then I want to do the same thing on the other side here. So I'm just going to take this one. There. All right, cool. Now we've got those connections are still being made to our street, but we've given ourselves just a little bit of clearance for what we're going to do next. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to show you guys a little trick here. I want to do what's kind of a typical airport configuration here in the United States, and it's the whole arrivals on the bottom, departures on the top kind of configuration. And I'm just going to show you, just by throwing in some roads here real quick, which is why we had to shift our airports back, is that I want to create this illusion that you'd have departing passengers, coming to the terminal on the top here, but arriving passengers coming to the terminal down here on the bottom. And that's why we nudged back our airport just a little bit. So really the way this would function, though, is that for this particular airport, all activity would move through this bottom level. And then as you get to the end here, that bottom level would turn and spin and come up and elevate and become the upper level on this, bypassing this second terminal that we have up here. And then conversely, this top elevation road here would come down and spin down into here and descend and become the access point, if you will, for this terminal up here. So you have the illusion of arrivals and departures, but really what you're doing is just creating functionality and accessibility to both of these terminals, international and domestic. Now, before I get to that, I want to be able to come down in here and I want to drop in another big asset. I'm going to take this road back down to ground level here. And I want to have a road that comes and runs parallel, if you will, to this pedestrian road. And maybe it starts about here and just works its way to about, let's call it here. And then I'm going to take another alley road here and I want to run that alley road. Let's give it about 4 spaces, if you will. Maybe 4 spaces as a buffer. We're going to run that parallel to this road here. And then in this space down here, I'd like to create a series of bus stops, like just one here. Yeah, something like that, I think, is a good configuration. And then on this side, this is where I want to put a nice big asset. So to support that asset, I'm going to need another road that runs right along parallel, if you will, with this, with this other road here. I can probably get away with, let's just run it right out of here. If I come running right straight down here, okay, I'm going to have to get rid of that particular bus station. Oh, this one turned a little awkward angle here. Let's do this. Yeah, that's better. All right, so now I can come back in here and I can connect just a regular road from here down along this stretch here. Just pulling that in here as a bit of a placeholder for the moment. And then there's the building that I want to use is actually found in our unique buildings here, and it's in the industrial space, and it's called Switch On. And Switch On, here we're going to turn snapping on. Switch On is this big, huge industrial building, and I want to show you what that looks like. If I jump down in here, it's just a massive building here, but it has this airport kind of look and feel, this vibe, if you will, of a building that kind of matches what's going on in there. You've got this curved areas here, and maybe this is the airport administration building, or maybe there are certain offices in there for some of the airport carriers and so forth. I just thought it looked like a building that fit into this space really nicely here. So yeah, I think that's a good look. Now I mentioned these are going to be little bus stops, so I think we can continue this little single road out here and reconnect back into. Yeah, we've got that connected there. I will make this bus only access just kind of down in this space here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we've got some nice little bus stops going on in there. In fact, I don't even think I need this little corner down here, do I? Yeah, and then we can maybe put a little decorative spot back in there as well. So you've got bus access coming through here. Okay, so now that's starting to take shape. We'll connect that with some sidewalks to our pedestrian road, and I think we're in a good spot. We can start building out that loop up here, I think. So here's where some of the road gymnastics come into play. I'm going to have to connect this bottom to this top, this bottom to this top. And I'm going to do that by just starting out, grab this 2-lane road here and bring this out, turn off the snap to the sides of the building, and just run it out to, let's just say right about here. So just a little bit, it's 2 squares past the other building there. So I want to do the same thing over here. I want to run this guy out to there. And then I also want to bring this out a little bit, bring this out to about here. Yeah, and if I create a nice match point there, we can do that. Now let's elevate here 10 meters and bring these guys out. Well, let's just start with them back to about the end of the building here. So I want to make sure I have plenty of clearance there. I guess I'll try it from there, and we'll see how things go. We'll reconnect back in over here as well. All right. So now this is where kind of, like I said, the tricky part comes, and yeah, we'll just see how it works. All right, so there you go. That gets us the loop. Nah, it's not as beautiful as I want it to be, but I can come back in here and tidy it up during the detailing time lapse or the beautification time lapse, just to make it look a little nicer. And yeah, I'll probably mess around with those as well. And now we can start figuring out how to get access into our airport. This will be another little tricky part, but yeah, I think it'll go well. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to change up this approach a little bit here. I want to add some elevation right in this space here, and not that much. I just want to come up maybe, 8 or so contour lines. Pick an elevation and press that out a little bit, and you can see the airport mechanics kind of start to come into play a little bit. You can see that this is being kind of sloped back down towards that asset. It's because the airport approach will only allow you to do so much, and I'm going to use that to our advantage. Yeah, okay. Just to create, you don't want to have a lot of elevation around an airport, that's for sure. But just to create some visual interest as you're coming and going from the airport. So next up is we need to bury a freeway that kind of comes in underneath this whole project here. So I want to get a freeway and go into parallel mode, set that offset at 2, and then I'm going to change my elevation steps down to our smallest elevation, and I want to just sink that freeway in. Let's do 15 meters underneath. Now the tunnels line up, and they're going into that berm, and so you can see their angle of descent isn't really all that radical. It looks nice and soft and smooth because we put this little rise in that place there. Very good. I like the way that's starting to look. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get that freeway again and just run it out there in parallel mode, just to set a placeholder, if you will. If you think about an airport entrance, they usually have, you've got 2 lanes that are going to serve this lower level. You've got 2 lanes that are going to serve the upper level, and then the opposite on the other side. So we have to kind of replicate that. And I'm going to start by coming in here and just kind of touching back this terrain again a little bit. I also need to create a way for those 2 lanes to merge with the upper 2 lanes. So I'm going to do that by just grabbing a regular road here for starters. It doesn't really matter where I put this. And I'm going to come in with a 4-lane one-way road. I'm going to center it up on that. So maybe if I come out this direction and just bring this out, do the same thing on the other side. And now I've got attach points for these lanes that come down into here. So is that too close? No, it's probably about right. Let's do this. Let's come out with our lower level for starters. And I'm going to need your help here remembering where I'm going. I'm going out 24 meters. And then I'm going to bend this in here. Let's go 40 meters. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we've got matching curves on both sides. And then let's see if I can snake this into there. So I might have to do a little more work. So let's take this road here. We were on a simple curve, I guess. We're going to go to the inside, I guess, if you could say, of this one here. And I just want to connect it to there. And then, that looks good. Then let's go up to the 10-meter mark. And we're going to run this straight out of here. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Now I can come in with our complex curve. Yeah, so, it looks nice and balanced, and they're nice, gentle curves. So we can soften that up too, and we'll fill this back in. Ooh, I like the way that that's taking shape. Now, I want you to think about an airport entrance too. There's a couple things that are going on usually. You've got returning traffic. You've got traffic that's coming from either direction. It's kind of chaotic. And we're going to do our best to reduce some of that chaos. I'm going to run this road right straight across here just to kind of create an attach point there. And we'll know that this is our runway, if you will, to get into the airport. This is our auto runway, if you will, to get out of the airport. And from here, I want to cut that, and cut that. And I'm going to take a simple 3-lane one-way road. I want to run this out about 64 meters, just so we've got something here. Do the same coming in the other direction. And then I need 2 lanes coming out of this other side as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach these roads. Now these can turn into freeway roads, 2-lane freeway roads. And now you have your freeway access. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, bring it out 56 and in 56, and you've got freeway access. Now, what are these other roads you're going to do? You're probably asking, and that's fine. I'm actually going to use those to create a couple of different kind of reapproaches. And then I want to bend this up, come out another 72 meters, but I want this to rise up so that it is going to be at least, let's do 8.75. So I'm at 140 meters, 149 degree angle. So let's go 145 degree angle. So remember that 72, 145. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So now we've got a couple of options here. One, we need to have a single lane. It's going to be a freeway lane here, and we'll just do 1 lane, one-way highway. I want to take this and bring this guy right out of here, out of this first one. I'll bring this out and across here till we get to this snap point and bring that person right back in here. And that's going to be your return to airport. So that's going to allow you to come back into the airport. Now, the other one, we're going to have to kind of thread out and go in a different angle here. So we're going to come out here a little bit. I'm going to bring this out till it mirrors up to this. Do the same thing on the other side here. Now we have to start thinking about how we're going to allow for traffic flow for freeway drivers that are coming from this direction here on the top, this Dale Highway. We have to give them access to get back into the airport coming around from this other direction. So let's work on that. So the next thing I need to do is I need to extend these freeway approaches a little bit further out, because interchanges always seem to take a little bit more space than you think they're going to. So let's bring this out. Just gonna run this out for right now, out into the forest, and that'll be fine. Now, the next thing I already see that I need to do is this right here. I think I need to make a little change here. I want that a little bit further from, from the actual interchange road there. And the reason is because I've got a little busyness going on in this space. So I want to bring this up to 8.75, and we'll run this straight out here. About 42 meters is fine, just to be safe. 49 meters and into there. That's good. And then the next objective is to try and connect this by loop to come down into this freeway right here. So I'm going to start by, once again, building a little guideline road here. I think this will be helpful. So now we've got some spaces to kind of line up to. All right, so let's take the freeway and let's go with 8.75 meters. And then I can bring this down in its decline or slope, if you will, back down towards this freeway here. And then we'll just reattach over on this side. There, so we've got one of our loops done. And now to do the second loop. The second loop, I'm going to come out here just with a gravel road. I want to come out about so far and maybe a little further. And then just run this, just run a little street out there just so I have some build squares to work with. And then I want to get a freeway. I want to select a continuous and then page up a bunch of times to get to about 7.5. Let's try 7.5. I'd like to come out 2, 3, maybe a 4 out here and then spin this around so it's 4 out over here. Yeah, something like that. Now on this side, I should be able to come in with a complex curve. Oh, actually, it looks like I can just go straight in there. Look at that. Okay. So that one's connected and it looks nice. Now we have to come down here and connect this to this. So let's, first things first, I want to see where this, that piece is way over there. So let's expand this to 4 lanes and we're just going to come in here and upgrade that to 4 lanes like so. Now I've got a spot here. And if I take that out, where I can start this little kind of climb up to there and just snake that up to there. So let's do that. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good, and it's got this big concrete kind of support process around here and whatnot. And so there we've got our entire freeway system now connected up. If I come in from this side, I can go into the airport right here, and that takes you up to the top level, which will spin you around over to the domestic terminal. The bottom level will take you into our international terminal. And then exiting, you come back out one of those 2 ways, and you have your options. You can either exit to go back in towards the town in this direction, or you can come up this ramp and you have an option to spin back around and go out down this freeway in this tunnel, back out in that direction. So you've got a multitude of different directions that you can go. And I think that's going to look really sharp once we get everything else filled in. All right, so now let's reconnect our underground freeway. Let's come down and select 12.5. And I just want to run out, put this in parallel mode for now. I want to run out a little bit. Where is this going to intersect? We're going to run straight out about here, 248 meters, and I'm going to bend this up to also go about that length. But I'm going to bring this up. Ooh, look at that. The tunnel would be right there too. And 0. Okay, so if I do this right about here, let's just see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, so the tunnel is going to go right in underneath the airport right there. We've got our freeway reconnected on this side. And it looks nice and natural too. That's a little straight there, but that's okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. And then over here, now is where we're going to have to get to work on a pretty good sized 3-way interchange. All right, so this feels like a good spot for us to jump in and do a time lapse. Now, it's not going to be our traditional time lapse because, we're still just in the first of our 2-part series to build out this episode, to build out the airport, I should say. And I really just want to come in and do a 3-way interchange in here that connects these freeways from, coming in from the west, the airport, and then the one coming in from the south. So it's something in this space. If I can, I think I'd like to tighten these loops up a little bit, maybe shift them in just a little bit to the left. I love the way that this one's shaped out here. I think I'd like to just kind of squeeze those in a little bit closer if I can. And then on the left side here, you can see we've got this airport asset, so I can't do a whole lot in terms of beautification other than in this little space, just kind of right down in here. On the right side, though, I've got a big area out here, but I would like to try and preserve that because I'd like to put in an asset or two maybe in our next build as well. Just kind of flesh this out and give it more of an airport vibe. And then I've got this little space down in the middle here that I can take care of. I think that can make a really elegant and beautiful approach to the airport. All right, so that's what the plan is for the time lapse. So why don't you guys sit back, relax, enjoy the time lapse, and let's reconnect here afterwards and recap our sculpture. Welcome back, and I give you the Amelia Earhart International Airport. Look at that. We've got a plane coming in from Birch Bay right now. And this is our the first of our two-part series here to build out the airport, and I think we're off to a really great start here. Now, we started, of course, with our terminals, and let's just jump right on in here. I love seeing the plane come in. We've got our first terminal here, which is our international terminal. That's in the foreground here. And this one will serve all of our cities outside of Grand Vanilla, like, say, Birch Bay, which was my Vanilla City Skylines series. Be sure to check that out if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. Now, I'm looking for other destinations for our international terminal, and if you've got some ideas, I'd love to hear them from you. Perhaps you guys have got an airport of your own that you'd like us to connect to, or maybe there's a favorite content creator of yours that you'd love to see us connect with. So drop us a note in the comment section and give us your thoughts. Now, let's jump across to the other side here where we've got Terminal 2, and that's our domestic terminal. Now, Terminal 2 is not seeing any activity just yet, but it will. It will as we build out additional cities here in Grand Vanilla. I've already got some ideas on where we want to go next after the conclusion of Pengasas Bay, but we've still got a ways to go here in this series. All right, that's Terminal 2. Now, we also put in quite a bit of parking here. As you can see, we've got these massive above-ground parking structures, 1, 2, and then we've got these really large lots that are out here. And, that's kind of what airports, have a lot in common. There's always a lot of parking, making sure that they can serve all their passengers. And then for fun, we put in this nice big asset right here, which is the switch-on factory. And I just thought it had a real good airport vibe. Look at all these little loading docks and so forth down here. Maybe I don't know, maybe this is like the baggage processing center. Who knows? And it's just kind of got this really great look, this industrial look. And then and I even dropped in a big parking lot here just next to it because it felt like the parking was a little bit Spartan for such a large complex there. We decorated up our gardens here, and then I'm going to zoom out too a little bit so you can see the loop structure that we created. Now, as you recall, if you're entering the airport up here on the right side, you're coming in on the top level. That top level bypasses our international terminal, and then it loops back down and around and ducks underneath, and then services our domestic terminal. So as you wrap up at the domestic terminal and you want to head out, you can make your way out onto the freeways going in the westbound direction. And then again, the lower level, well, that comes right in and services the international terminal. And as it makes its way out, it comes around this loop here, rises up and bypasses our domestic terminal and heads back out into the freeways as well. So you've got really great access here. Now, I put in a bus station down in here. We don't have any bus lines running just yet, only because we just don't have a lot of passengers coming through to the airport, having just only opened up one line so far. But it's all ready to go. And we've got little bus stations under there that are under the sheltered covering, the sheltered awning, and I just wanted to drop that in there for a little extra decor. And then I want to take you out here to the east side entrance. We've got this tunnel system that comes out here. As you recall, it connected to this big interchange here that was off to the east. And we built out this tunnel that came through here, covered it up with some nice little pedestrian walkways here just to kind of clean it up a little bit. And then I also went through and framed up a lot of the external, sections of the airport too, just to create some privacy. I mean, a lot of airports have fences running around them, and we don't have a lot of fence assets here in City Skylines 2, but I wanted to do the best that I could with what we got. And now that tunnel, as you recall, it just goes right on under the airport, travels right on through the length of the airport, and ends up in our top 5 design element. Yeah, this is our top 5 design element, and it is our grand entrance into the airport. And I just love these entrance gardens. I took the initiative of creating kind of these geometric patterns, if you will, that are on the side here. We didn't have a lot of space to work with beautification, just by virtue of the airport assets itself taking up so much space. So I thought I'd squeeze in something that's a little bit, maybe a little eclectic, but certainly artistic. And now airports around the world oftentimes have these beautiful, lush, approaches to them, and this is certainly no exception. Really do love the way that this turned out in Pengasas Bay, and I think it's just a lovely, lovely addition to our city. Now, again, you've got so many ways to use this freeway system here. As you're coming out of the airport, you can dive back into the westbound freeways. You can loop yourself back up and around and come all the way down around here and make your way back to the eastbound freeways. You could return to the airport if you wanted to by doing this, and then you can see any passengers that are driving through on this freeway, this westbound freeway that comes up here. They can access the airport by ducking off onto this loop and bringing them back around and coming back over to our terminal structure over here. here. Lower for international, upper for domestic. So, lots of accessibility, and I think the traffic flow should be pretty good through the airport here. I can't wait to get the bus lines and additional plane lines running. And then one more thing that we did over here is we dropped in this big 3-way interchange. I knew I needed to do something like that just to kind of keep things moving in and around this space, and I think it turned out pretty kind of cool. It's got a little strange look about it here, maybe almost a windmill sort of a look to it, but I like the way it turned out. And then you can see I've got these power lines, these big power towers running out here, because in our next episode we'll probably add some additional assets and functionality back in here somewhere. So I just love the way that this is starting. That's episode 1 of our airport. All right, well, that's going to wrap up today's episode, but sit tight. You're not going to want to miss our cinematics. Those are always fun. And just a reminder, we are a growing channel, and so if you saw something that you liked today, be sure to leave us a comment below. The engagement really helps with the algorithm, and it distributes our content to a much wider audience. Now, if you're also looking to throw some additional support behind the channel so that we can bring even more content, we now have a Patreon page, and you can explore up to 4 different levels of membership options, each with their own unique perks. And I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of those members who've already signed up. Your generosity is much appreciated. Now, also, while you're at it, make sure to chip away at that like button and hammer that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the happenings here in Pengasas Bay and our Grand Vanillica series as well. Okay, so with all that, I'm going to bid you guys a fond farewell for this week. And until next time, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.